Hello, fellow investors. Welcome to Borex Investing. Today, we're going to be talking about Apple and whether or not this is still a good stock to purchase in 2025. So, if we look at Apple, over the past 10 years, they've been doing very good. They've given their investors over 500% returns. Um, since 2010, they've really just almost gone parabolic and have been the reason why a lot of people's 401ks, IRAs, and portfolio balances are so high, because if you don't invest in Apple directly, Apple, as a key member of the Mag 7, is driving growth in the NASDAQ, and their stock is really a core position in major ETFs like VOO, QQQ, or SPY. But if we look at the year to date, Apple is down over $50 since the beginning of the year. So it's down 20%. And really, when we look at the latest product announcements that came from Apple, they really are mediocre, and they have caused a lot of investors to ask themselves, is Apple still worth owning? So the simple answer is it depends what you're looking for. So it just so happens that this week Apple had their developer conference where they announce new products and new software. And I watched the whole thing and I thought it was extremely underwhelming. I mean, it seems like most of these things that they're releasing are just kind of cosmetic UI updates. It's nothing really too exciting. I thought, for instance, the live translation was pretty cool, that text messages are translated automatically, phone calls are translated automatically, and even FaceTime can translate automatically. So that's really going to change things specifically for international business communication. So I think that was cool. But really the problem is that their competitors, such as Google and Meta, are already offering similar tools. So going back to the conference, their AI integration kind of wasn't really mentioned all that much, and that's very disappointing, because back in 2024 on my website, I did predict that Apple would make a major push to integrate AI into their hardware, and this would trigger a new kind of growth cycle for the company, because everyone would upgrade their devices, and that really never happened. So looking back at Apple, like, everyone knows that in the last year they abandoned one of their most exciting products to date, right? So they abandoned their car project over a year ago, and this really is a missed opportunity, in my opinion, because if you look at some of their smartphone competitors, for instance, the Chinese company Xiaomi, they have released a car in the past few years that has been doing very well in China. It is an EV, but it's been doing well in China, and it's starting to really pick up steam in the European Union. I mean, I've actually heard that there's quite a bit of back orders even in Poland for these. So it's nice to think what would have happened if Apple developed a car, whether it would be something like this, whether it would be something more like Tesla, but at this point we'll never know. So Apple instead has decided to really go all in on the glasses. And if we remember, they released this Vision Pro headset 2 years ago, and this thing was a major disappointment. I mean, it was really expensive, it was bulky, it looked stupid when you saw someone wearing it in public. They just looked ridiculous, and I personally don't know anyone who bought one, but I saw videos online of people wearing these things like on the subway in New York, and they just looked kind of ridiculous. So this big thing was kind of a monstrosity, and rumors are that this item is going to be shelved soon. But what we're hearing right now, the rumors, the rumor mill, are saying that, of course, this is a lot of the Vision Pro owners say they have regret buying the headset, and that's just collecting dust. But anyways, we'll see what happens next, because the rumor is that Tim Cook is dead set on beating Meta to this industry-leading, augmented reality thing, and Whether or not this will be a hit, I'm not really sure. One of my biggest criticisms, or not just mine of this thing, is that a lot of people that I talk to, they want to limit their screen time. They want to limit the amount of time they're in front of these type of devices and products. And if you have this, or even if you have something that maybe looks a little better like this, it's still, you're gonna have a screen in front of your face for hours at a day. And maybe it's gonna be a hit. Maybe if it combines features like translation and music and maps with the sleek design, that it's going to be a game changer, but it's still uncertain. We know Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg is really big on these things, and he believes that within the next decade, glasses are actually going to replace smartphones. But I'm not sure if I see that. But again, time will tell. Time will tell. So going back to Apple stock, so one thing that they really do hold as a big advantage is the Apple ecosystem. So it's a major strength for the company. So, your photos, your apps, or your iCloud data is really in the Apple ecosystem on your devices. And it seems like making a switch to it is painful, considering if you have 10 years of photos and videos and all this stuff on your devices. So this really creates a powerful network effect. And I think it creates customer loyalty. And even me, I've been using Apple products for about 20 years now, and my next phone will likely be an iPhone. My next computer will likely be a MacBook. And I'm just, I'm in the ecosystem, and it's just comfortable. You buy a new thing, you hook it up, and it has all your data in there. So it's, changing at this point would just kind of be uncomfortable. But the problem is that we don't know if that ecosystem alone is going to justify the current valuation. So right now we see Apple is at a PE ratio of 30. So a PE ratio of 30 prices it at a level that's a major growth company. And right now I'm not seeing that catalyst for major growth for Apple. So to me, this valuation looks very stretched. I mean, they're only growing in single digits, so why do they have this high PE? So, it could be likely that within a few years, this stock actually depreciates even more and maybe drops down to 170, 150. Some bears think it's going to be trading at around $120 within 2 years. I mean, I'm not sure if that's the case, but there are others, of course. If we look at our friends on Wall Street, Goldman Sachs, they still maintain a buy rating. They still think that it's going to be trading, it's going to return to their all-time highs, and it's going to be trading at about $253 soon. So I don't know, but what I do know is right now my strategy is I haven't bought any new shares in years, but I'm also not selling any of my Apple shares. And the reason why is because Apple since it's a fairly flat company, it's a great stock to trade options on. So I've been actually selling covered calls on this, and when you sell a covered call, you generate a premium, and this could be a weekly premium, a monthly premium, a bi-monthly premium, where you actually just get cash. So I'm using then that cash from the premium, but I'm not reinvesting it in Apple. I'm using that money to reinvest in my high conviction stocks. So like Nebius, like HIMS, like Tesla, because I'm really a big fan of firms with high potential growth rates, and I just don't see it right now with Apple. So final thoughts, it's really not the innovation leader that it once was, but it's still a dominant, highly profitable, mature company. One thing that I find amazing is that the AirPods, so just this product that they sell, one of their many products that they sell, the AirPods alone generate $22 billion in revenue annually. So in 2024, they made $22 billion off just selling these little tiny headphones. And for comparison, that is more than Spotify generates in a year. That is more than Block generates in a year. And when we compare it to someone like Netflix in 2024 generated $39 billion for the entire year of all their offerings. So Apple just on their freaking AirPods were able to generate $22 billion. It's really a very amazing, it's very still a highly successful company, but it's just very mature. So, I think for having a company as successful as Apple being priced like this, I think it's justified for the most part. But again, with their growth rates, it's just not that exciting. So for me, my opinion is that if you're looking for something with explosive upside, then this is probably not the stock to buy. But if you are looking for something very stable, then Apple is a very good choice. And that's one of the reasons it's part of the Mag 7, and it's such a cornerstone of major ETFs, like we mentioned, VOO, QQQ, and SPY. So if you already own Apple, maybe you should consider doing what I do and turning it into a cash flow asset. Turn it into something that makes you money just by holding the shares. And you do this by selling covered calls against this. So, time will tell. Who knows? Maybe the AR glasses will be the next iPhone moment for them. Or maybe it'll just turn into another disappointment like the Vision Pro. So, we'll see. That's it for now. Thank you.